Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0-Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Ooh, welcome back to the 3-0-Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 386. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin, and I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
Are you needing that intro to be written down?
No, I'm just out of my element right now. If you could see the YouTube right now,
please be watching on YouTube, people. Please.
Wow,
so
this
good.
is weird. This is a first for me, at least. You back when we first started this podcast, you almost exclusively recorded in your car, but
sure did.
We're day 2 of the family beach trip with the in-laws, and you know it's tough to ask a family at a
with
beach,
a baby. There's
with
a baby in there, yeah,
to give us quality recording quality silence. And so had to call an audible. I had initially set up in our room. That didn't work, so I said, you know what, we're gonna take matters in our own hands. I came down. I'm sitting in the back seat of our car, and we're just going to wing this thing. I may pass out from heat exhaustion, but
or lack of oxygen.
lack of oxygen. But all that to say, yeah, I'm out of my element, so I had to go to my comfort zone and actually look at it written out in front of me. So we'll see how this goes.
Oh boy.
I mean, not only did I have to be in the car, I couldn't even be in like the driver's seat to like give myself some sense of, like
the angle didn't make sense. Yeah.
Couldn't even give myself a sense of like pride or dignity. I'm here in the not just the back, I'm in the middle seat in the back.
That's true.
Recording a podcast, but that's what we do for the people. So
begging for a Happy Meal.
Are we there yet? Where's my Happy Meal? Anyway, let's get into some baseball. Off the top here, buy, sell. You got anything for us on this fine Monday?
I am, no surprise, buying Mr. David Boomer Wells. The man is just a legend. I'm not necessarily buying his comments regarding the Yankees. What I'm buying most is the fact that he did the interview and he taped off the Nike emblem on the jersey for Old Timers Day. I'm sure you saw all the guys are coming back for Old Timers Day, and it was like the anniversary of the 98 team. So he got a nice little piece of tape and put it right over the Nike logo, like a freaking legend. So
I was actually blown away at the number of people that didn't understand it. They're like, because the post that I saw pointed out the fact it wasn't just like, oh, figure it out yourself. The caption indicated like, yeah, I taped it over, and people were like,
why?
What is that about? I'm like, get your head out of the sand. Like, come on. Get with the times.
David Wells just keeps it real. So I'm buying Mr. Boomer.
You know what? We're at the beach. I'm not gonna try to pretend like I'm taking the baseball route here. I am actually gonna buy going to the beach in September. It's a very unpopular month to go to the beach, but that's good if you are one of the people
when we went.
That's going to
when
the
I was
beach.
a kid, that's when we went. It was always like September, October range, because it's cheaper and there's no one there. Like, it's your beach.
Well, if you know me, you know that I like being kind of where the buzz is. I like being where the crowds are. I just like when there's energy or whatever, and I even feel that way with the beach. But I gotta say, this time around, I don't know if it's because 30 is right around the corner. If I'm knocking on the door at 30, that must be it. That has to be it. This time
100%.
around, I was like,
there's a switch where it's like, you just want people out of your way, dude. Just go away.
I think that switch has been flipped, because this time around, I'm like, this is actually kind of nice. Like, nobody around. I can do what I want. This was nice. So I'm buying beach in September. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Are you still with me?
Uh-oh.
You still with me?
Oh yeah, there we go. We're
there
back
we
now.
go.
All right,
We're back.
cool.
Side
We're
effects.
gonna tough this one out, I think. Yeah, this is
Side
like
effects of
this is
recording in the car.
Yeah, this is just one of those where, like, you're still playing through the storm. The heavy stuff isn't coming down for a while. You just got to tough it out on this one.
I'm already sweating, and we're only 5 minutes in, so we're gonna see how this goes. I don't even have any water with me. We're gonna tough this one out. Weekend series rundown. Let's just get right into it. Marlins over the Phillies. Ranger Suarez takes a no-hitter in the 7th on Sunday. Phillies still lose the game. Marlins have won 8 of 10. Let's go Marlins. Tigers over the White Sox. White Sox eliminated from the postseason contention on Sunday, just in case anybody was curious. Rays take 3 of 4 from the Mariners. Seattle finishes their road trip 3-7. So after a rather impressive month, kind of wrapping up this first week or so in September, not on the greatest note. Orioles over the Red Sox. Over the weekend, the O's become, I believe it was with Saturday's win, become the second team in baseball to reach 90 wins. Obviously, them and the Atlanta Braves are the only two with that mark so far. The O's, for the O's, it's their first 90-win season since 2014.
Whoa.
Dodgers over the Nationals. Dodgers' magic number to clinch the NL West is 6. Dude, have you seen the NL West race as of late? I know we mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but it's almost like we blinked and...
Dude, we got to double digits in no time.
Insane. Brewers over the Yankees. It's so hot in this car. Brewers over the Yankees. Brewers hold Yankees hitless through 10 1/3, and they still lose. And as a result, they miss out on a sweep. Some news to come from the weekend for the Yankees, though. Jason Dominguez has a torn UCL. Not good news for the Yankees.
Sure.
This is why I can't have nice things.
Sure.
Braves over the Pirates. Braves clinch their postseason berth over the weekend. Their magic number for the division is 7. Blue Jays sweep the Royals. The Blue Jays moved a game ahead of the Mariners in the wild card standings after Seattle loses at Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg. Cardinals over the Reds with Arizona's loss to the Cubs. The Reds are 5th in the wild card standings, 1.5 games back behind the D-backs for the third slot. Twins over the Mets. Pablo Lopez strikes out 14, but the Mets rally and avoid the sweep. Astros over the Padres. Kyle Tucker, because something that was making its rounds. Kyle Tucker becomes the 12th player to triple twice in an inning. Astros have scored at least 6 runs in each of their last 19 wins. D-backs take 3 of 4 from the Cubs. The Cubs snap a 3-game losing streak with a 5-2 win over the D-backs. And Arizona's 4-game winning streak ends, but the D-backs are still in the 3rd wild card spot. Rangers over the A's. Rangers win for only the 6th time in their last 22 games. A span where they have gone from a 3.5-game lead in the West to .003 points behind division foe Seattle for the AL's 3rd and final wildcard spot. Angels take 3 of 4 from the Guardians. Guardians drop to 7.5 behind first place Minnesota in the Central. And lastly here, Giants sweep the Rockies. Giants make their way back into the playoff race with 3 straight wins following a 6-game losing streak that matched their season worst. They're now a game and a half behind the D-backs for the final NL wildcard.
Is it just me, or are we like... I don't remember seeing this many bad teams. Like, bad teams.
I mean, we talked about it. This is a potential side effect from the expansion of the playoffs. Like, I think you and I actually, one of the few things we disagree on a pretty good amount is that your concern was that teams were going to be more lackadaisical in their efforts to secure a wild card spot, but I was of the belief that more teams would try to, rally it up a little bit in an effort to finally get a postseason spot when previously they were historically out of contention year in and year out. So I don't know. Maybe this year leans towards the school of thought that you have, but I don't know. It's not a good look.
I don't remember this. There's so many teams that are on like a 75 win or less watch. There's so many teams.
I mean, the Royals are the worst in baseball, right? Which is alarming because
they're basically tied with the A's.
We were talking about the A's being the worst team possibly ever about a month into the season. Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's just wild. Like, I'm counting maybe not getting to 75 wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the NL. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 in the AL. It just seems, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I got to look at last year. But still, like, this is just gross. Really top heavy. Then there's a couple teams that are good. And then there's a lot of bad teams. But this is what you were saying. Like, you have teams that think they're still in it for a long period of time. They think they're still in it when the deadline rolls around, and then they get smacked with reality that they suck. And then we're seeing all the true colors.
And then you start seeing the drop off of fan bases. Like, fully transparent here. Like, I can see it even in like our download numbers. Like, you can just tell when people start checking out, and it's usually this time of year once football rolls around. It's like, you've got the fans that will check out the first sign of struggle with their team because they're like, we weren't supposed to really do much anyway this year. I've held out as long as I can. I'm going to check out. And then you get the people that hold out regardless how poorly their team is doing until football rolls around, and then they're like, all right, this is where I jump off. And then you get the remaining few that ride it out the full season, 162 people. But
let's look at these teams. Look, like the Royals, historically bad. Chiefs, historically good. So they're moving on. Like White Sox fans,
as they should.
Yeah, White Sox fans, I'm assuming you're pretty into the Bears at this point, even though it was a rough day yesterday. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if Oakland. I'm assuming Oakland fans are still Raiders fans. You got. I mean, anyone in New York has shifted their mindset over to the Giants Jets. I feel like Cincinnati's pretty much done, so they're shifting over to the Bengals. Steelers fans are starting to warm up. Like, you've got teams starting to switch back over, I think.
Well, I got an interesting tweet here I saw last night from Danny Vietti. He was pulling some numbers together from MLB attendance on NFL Week 1, and he went through a handful of teams and, listed out their season average, what their attendance usually is on a given day, and then he compared it to what it was the first NFL Sunday of the season. The Angels dropped off. The Rangers dropped off. The Cubs they were actually up on Sunday. Twins dropped off. Houston, Cincy, both up. Toronto dropped off. Yankees up. Braves down ever so slightly. Nationals was up. Red Sox down. Tigers down. Rays up, Phillies up, Giants up. Those are just the ones he listed, but it's just, it's just a good indication of kind of where we're at in the year, and it's just, we talk about August being a rough month for baseball, but like in reality, September also, as much as we don't want to label it as such,
down. Yeah.
The first half of September is also kind of lumped in there with that August struggle, because it's like, okay, we're really just keeping an eye on like a handful of races. Like, we don't need to we don't need to be dragging this out any more than we do. Let's just get to the end of September, determine the spots, and we'll keep it moving. But we're grinding it out. We're still here, and things are still happening. I'm not trying to sit here and say that like all of the baseball that we're watching right now is like useless or pointless or not entertaining. I mean, just this weekend alone, we had a few stories pop up, which we'll get into. Do you want to talk about the Acuña Oviedo little run-in? Because it seems like the theme of the weekend was, quote, baseball is soft. Regardless which side of the aisle you're on that matter, that seems to be the theme of the weekend. So let's just get right into it. Acuña Oviedo. I feel like I already know your thoughts on this, but I just want to hear them again, just to be certain, because I don't know if maybe you saw or heard something that maybe changed the way you're thinking about this particular incident.
Nothing's changed my mindset on this. Pitchers need to be able to pitch inside. Pitchers are taught for a long time, especially when you're facing an MVP candidate, get them uncomfortable. Move their feet a little bit. Brush them off a little bit. You and I grew up in an era where, like, that is the standard of what pitchers do. And I saw some comment that was like, because I didn't see the comments, but I heard that I think Roger Clemens and someone else commented on some stuff. Oh, I think that was the George Kirby stuff. We'll get to that later. But either way, like, fans are like, oh, like, shut up, steroids. Like, you're not allowed. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's a mentality thing. Like, I feel like pitchers have gotten softer.
Sure.
And I think it's time to, like, get back into this. No need to be offended, dude. Like, I understand Acuña not liking it. I get it. I don't think I would like it as a hitter either. But at the same time, it's like, bro, like, he's doing his job. Like, he's wanting you to be uncomfortable. He can't just serve it up to you. Like, I don't know what you expect.
Also, why is Acuña acting like he's the first player that's ever been thrown inside? Like, dude, like, when I saw the highlight for the first time, my mind immediately went to, was it Clemens on the mound when he threw at Manny, or was it just like some scrub? Because I think there was like some build up to it, and I can't remember if Clemens was the guy I think it was Clemens that actually threw at Manny. I can't remember. It might have been some scrub. But it like wasn't even at him, and he's like he's being super like demonstrative. He's like flailing out of the way, and he's like pointing at and I was like,
yeah.
There's so many instances I feel like these days where guys are just looking for an excuse to start a little something. And I'm also like, Acuña, dude, it's the Pirates, it's Oviedo. What does Oviedo have to prove? What are the Pirates?
It's the first inning.
It's the first inning.
Batter.
Like, what message would the Pittsburgh Pirates or Oviedo for that?
That's what I'm saying.
Reason, what message would they have for you at this point? They're not in it. They're not in the race. They have nothing really against the Braves, right. And you're only giving. Look, it was inevitable, but this comes back to the Braves fans. Braves fans chirping so much about, well, I hope you're enjoying fourth place. Good one. You really razz the Pirates.
You just want them to not compete? Like, I don't understand.
They get so defensive. If the Braves fans, look, Braves are great. I've acknowledged that. I'm not taking anything away from what the Braves are doing, but it really comes down to the fans for me every single time. If you were all high and mighty as you claim to be, you would brush this off your shoulder. It wouldn't even land on your shoulder.
Right.
It wouldn't even register on your radar. But now that it has, you're letting it get you all hot and bothered, and you're the one talking about Oviedo getting all hot and bothered. No, you're the ones that are getting all hot and bothered because they're coming after your guy, even though they're not even coming after your guy because it was just a missed inside pitch.
That's what I'm saying.
You get all hot and bothered, kind of like I am sitting in this car right now, and you're making a big fuss about it, and it just makes you look I hate to say, but it makes you look a little pathetic. A little pathetic. It's if it is the Pirates that you claim to not be worried about because they're in fourth place, as you so conveniently pointed out over the weekend, this shouldn't bother you. And as a baseball fan, you should recognize that it was simply a missed inside pitch.
Yeah, if you look at the sequence, I mean, he went in, painted outside, back in. So it's like this is what pitchers do. But yeah, you're right. I mean, what's that phrase where it's like the lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of sheep or whatever?
Exactly.
I mean, that should be the mentality of the Braves. Obviously, they're the lion here. It's like well, I don't understand, man. Like this is the era that we grew up in. Like, this is the baseball that we watched. Like, it should almost be taken as like a, you know how guys say like they love when they go to an opposing ballpark and they're just showered with boos. Like Reggie Jackson said, like they don't boo nobodies, right? That was the famous quote. They don't boo nobodies. So it's the same mentality. Like, it should be a little bit of like all right, this guy wants me to be uncomfortable because he knows how good I am. I don't know. It's just put the chip on your shoulder. There are parts of that it bugged me a little bit, and it's around the game everywhere. And every hitter every time is like having this reaction. Then he pimps the walk, drops all the stuff at home plate, and then he gets hosed trying to swipe second. And I was like, no one's going to remember this. No Braves fan is going to remember this. We're going to come back at the end of the year, and they're going to talk about how many stolen bases he had, how great of a season he had. No one's going to remember this. But it's like this slight little moment for like that all things aligned properly. Baseball gods were like, yeah, dude, like you overreacted. Now you're jogging back to the dugout.
No, I disagree. The Braves fans continue to show their true colors. You think they're going to forget about this? I guarantee you Braves fans already have the Pittsburgh Pirates series for 2024 already circled on their calendar. Oh, we can't wait to stick it to Pittsburgh. You all just wait till the chop on Braves roll into town. It's like, okay, it's the Pirates. And look, man, I know people get tired of me ragging on the Braves fans all the time, but like, just be better. Just be better. You don't need to be concerning yourself with the Pirates. Johan Oviedo, come on. Let's be a little better. Not to mention they don't even have McCutchen because he's out for the year. So they truly are like, I mean, outside of Reynolds and maybe a name or two, they're relatively identityless. So like, let's not act like there's some beast of the East here or something, because they're simply not. They're just struggling to make it to the finish line at this point.
Yeah. And for those curious, they do not match up again this year. So you're right. 2024 has been circled.
Oh, it's been circled in fresh red ink. George Kirby, another name you already alluded to. Similar discussions surrounding George Kirby about baseball possibly becoming soft. He said Saturday, I believe in reference to his start Friday. He was talking to reporters after the game. He said, I wish I wasn't out there for the seventh, to be honest. He said, I was at 90 pitches. I don't think I needed to go anymore, but it is what it is. And then people just come out of the woodworks. Now, I mean, rightfully so. These were some pretty asinine comments. I don't care if you kind of got caught up in the heat of the moment. I really feel like you meant what you said there, and then you saw the blowback. And then you had to come out the next day. The next day he comes out and he says, obviously I screwed up. That's not me. This was the part. And if you watch the video, it's actually hilarious the way he delivers it. It instilled no confidence in me. It instilled no like level of intimidation when he said this. He was like, obviously I screwed up. That's not me. Skip's always got to pry that ball out of my hands. Just super uncharacteristic of me as a player and who I am on that mound. I love competing. It's like, no, bro, you're a byproduct of the era that we're in with baseball now. You're a byproduct of the way pitchers are developed, the way pitchers are treated, the way they're handled, the way they're managed. That's just who you are. And it's not necessarily your fault, but like, within a 24-hour span, don't try to tell me that like I didn't want to be out there for the 7th because I was at my 90 pitch limit. And then within 24 hours also be like, yeah, Skip's got to pry that ball out of my hands. No. Stop. You're not fooling anybody. And like, honestly, if you're one of those people that are getting on guys like us or like former baseball players that have come out, like you mentioned, Roger Clemens, or like even some of these reporters coming out, be like, what is this mess about? Look at yourself. Okay. Just look at yourself, because if you're a fan of baseball, I don't know how you would look at that and be like, yeah, that's the style of baseball I want. I want to be wearing the jersey of the 6th inning reliever that I'm going to see 4 nights out of the week. No, like I want to see a starter go 7, 8, 9 like they used to, because baseball is better when it's built around starting pitching. I don't care about your stable of arms, as Kevin Cash said. I want to see a guy. I want to see a bulldog out there. I don't want to see a starter hand the ball over when he hits 90 and then be like, all right, you guys can take it from here. Like, no, give me a guy that wants to take it 100 plus, like every time he goes out. That's why would you not want to see that?
Oh, the worst comment I think I've ever heard. Like, I've never heard a pitcher say that before in my mind. I don't think I can't relate this to any other time. I think there's such thing as like disagreeing with your manager. There's such thing about like maybe lack of ownership before. Like we've heard those kinds of comments before, but this was like, and I didn't listen to the full interview, but it wasn't like I missed my spot. I didn't have my stuff today. I shouldn't have thrown that pitch. There wasn't any of that. There was zero accountability. It was like, well, I just shouldn't have been out there. What are you talking about? Why? Why shouldn't you have been out there? We're coming down the stretch, dude. You're hunting down a wild card spot. You're hunting down a playoff race. I shouldn't have been out there at 90? 90 pitches. Not 105, not 110, 90. What are you talking about? If I'm at 90 in the 6th, I'm smelling that, dude. I want through 6 no matter what.
It's really sad how the standard, oh my God, it's so hot in here.
You're dripping. You know Open it up. Look, get some. Oh, yeah.
There we go. You know what? I lasted as long as I could. We're going to have to let this air roll in for just a minute. So please bear with me. Please forgive me. Woo, it is hot. Oh my goodness. Oh, the things I do for this show, I swear.
I've got my fan on right now.
Yeah, thanks, dude. That's nice. That's a good story.
Get some water real quick. Let me get some water.
Yep. Take your time. Go ahead. Yeah, let's just take a quick break here. Wow, I can actually hear the AC unit working hard in the background, but I'm not reaping that benefit at all. Not a one
benefit.
Just gonna sit here for just another minute here.
Wipe the brow.
Man, it is hot. And it's cloudy today. That's the crazy thing. Like, could you imagine if the sun was beating down? I mean, I'm under an overhang, like, of this beach house, and it's still hot. Whew, okay. If you're listening to this, please just bear with me another minute. It's a little toasty in here.
It's almost like
toasty. Just think of this as like an intermission. We don't do intermissions really ever, but this I just need this one. What were you saying?
You're gonna throw that ad read in there.
Yeah,
some SeatGeek in there.
SeatGeek, how about it? I was actually thinking about that. That's a good thought. Look, hopefully the seats that you're aiming to sit in this baseball season won't be as hot as the seat I'm sitting in, because
that thing's swampy.
That would be miserable. I mean, I essentially showered for nothing. I'll probably have to shower again, unless we just go right to the beach. Then I'm cool.
Hop right in the water.
But yeah, SeatGeek, SeatGeek. Use it. Use our promo code 3OTAKE. That's our social handle.
Yeah.
You save $20 off your first purchase. Have we figured out if that's actually the case, or can you I think we've had people say it's only for your first purchase. Is that right? Can we confirm
I think
that?
you gotta find a way to trick the system. You gotta find a loophole. I don't know if it's a new card or a new email address.
I think it's both. If you really want to help the boys out and show us your support by using a promo code, you may have to do that. But if you're a new listener or you haven't used our promo code before, you can use that promo code, save $20. You can do baseball games. You can now do football games, basketball. Like I said, we learned that we can go to the circus using SeatGeek. So
Correct.
Literally anything and everything you want. If there's something to be watched and there's a seat involved, you can bet SeatGeek has it. We
use SeatGeek. We're going to be using SeatGeek seats.
I've already used my
3
SeatGeek
weeks.
promo code. All that to say, all right, now they're like doing construction
honking
across the street. So we're gonna go ahead and all right. Now this is crunch time. Now we gotta really dial it in here. No, but wrapping up the thing about George Kirby, it's crazy to me how the standard for like what's an acceptable outing has continued to dwindle as the starting pitcher, just generally the starting pitcher becomes less important. Like it used to be if a guy could give you 7, then you just got to figure out 8, 9, and then it got to 6.
Right.
And now I think we're at 5. Like if you go 5, they were I don't even remember which game I was talking or which game I was watching, but the guy was the commentators kind of made light of it because they caught themselves talking about it in that way. They're like, yeah, you know, like if he could go out, if he could go out and get, it may have been the Phillies game at some point this weekend, one of these games, but they were talking about, you know, if they can go out there and give you 5, that's a really good outing. And they kind of stopped themselves in the middle of it. And then they like started joking around like, yeah, I mean, if he can give you 5 whole innings, that's a good outing. And they were like laughing about it. And I'm like, it's funny in the moment, but like,
yeah. Well,
like,
there's certain
sad.
circumstances where maybe it's like a 4 or 5 starter or a spot starter or, you know, a call up or something like that.
Sure.
Those are understandable. Or like, just get me through 5 and we'll be fine. We're talking about front of the line starter, 1, 2, 3 guy. Those guys should be hungry for a 7 minimum. Hungry for that. So I don't know, man. Like you hear all these stories of like, you know, more surgeries, more injuries, but the art of pitching is completely changed. It's completely changed. And this is what happens when we're so obsessed with velocity and we're so obsessed with the MPH, dude. Like, just let these guys spot up. Teach these guys how to pitch. Work more efficiently. Let your defense work. Like, it's not fun to watch. It's not fun to watch. Also, George Kirby looks like he's like 16.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Which
is that a mustache that he's trying to grow?
Which goes back to my point. I mean, we can only make so many jokes because he's doing what he's doing and we're not. But like, as people that are going to commentate on what's happening in Major League Baseball, George Kirby, I think you're right. He looks like he's 16, but it just adds to my point that I was making earlier where he's sitting there trying to, Skip's got to pry that ball out of my hands. Like, no, dude, no. You're not that guy. You're simply not that guy. And maybe with time you can develop into that, but as it stands right now, you are simply following what the paper says, what the iPad says about when you're supposed to come out. And that's what I'm saying. He's a byproduct of that. And it is what it is. We can only be so upset with him because it's really just the culture that he's being developed in right now. But something's got to change, man, because they were talking about it on MLB Network today, and they were talking about how these guys are getting more rest for less innings. That's when you know that, like, things really need to change. Like, these guys are requiring more rest for fewer innings.
Right.
That's alarming. That's alarming. Something else that is possibly alarming to Angels fans who have already just had the gauntlet of a season this year. The Angels according to a USA Today report, Bob Nightingale reporting. Take that as you will. Don't really know how much stock to put into this. But it was reported that the Angels are going to be open to trading Mike Trout if he indicates that he would like to move on from the team. Nate, thoughts?
Philly.
Yep.
Give me Philly.
Get him to Philly.
We need it.
Can I be honest with you, though? As Camaro pulls off into the distance, can I be honest with you?
Let me hear it.
I just, it might be recency bias, but it's really not recency bias because it's been for like how many years now that we've been having this injury narrative conversation with Mike Trout. I just don't know if Mike Trout really does it for me the same way as he used to. Like
But here's what's scary, though. Here's what's scary is that, like, even if he doesn't do what he, yes, because even if he doesn't do what we've been used to seeing, he's still like a roll out of bed, don't even need to show up until game time kind of thing, and he's gonna put up 30 and 90 minimum.
Yeah. Yeah, but with that price tag though, with the attached price tag, he's got.
That's the only issue. Yeah,
he has 7 years and like roughly $250 million left on his 12-year $430 contract that he signed back in 2019. Could you not maybe find that production elsewhere? Assuming that he just kind of stays in this rut that I don't want to call it a rut, but like he continues on this path of getting dinged up, the recovery taking longer than they'd like. I mean, how many more years that it's similar to like a Chris Sale where it's like, how many more times can we do this whole this song and dance where it's like, okay, he's back, and then he's back for like a month, and then it's like, okay, well, what injury news you got now, Doc? Because it's clearly something new. I just don't know. I don't know how many times you can do that before it's like, okay, this has kind of lost its luster a little bit. Not that I'm writing off Trout altogether, but I'm just saying I think teams need to be a little cautious, and I think they will be because they're looking to save a buck. So
that's the
you're
problem.
bring up.
I think that's the problem right there is that teams are going to be cautious, and I don't think the Angels are realistic with their asking price. I don't even need to see their asking price to know that they're going to be unrealistic.
I don't know if they're in a position to have much of an asking price because I think that would be more of a dump than anything. I don't know how much you would be at. You're going to ask for something, sure, but if you're the Angels,
it's more along the lines of, when I say asking price, like more along the lines of how much they're going to eat, because they're going to need to eat some of that.
I mean, package Trout and Rendon together.
Ew.
How else are you going to get rid of Rendon?
It's fair.
How else are you going to get rid of him?
They're in like full, like, we're just depressed. Just take it. Like, whatever. I don't care about this. I don't care about this. Just Ohtani's done. Rendon sucks. We traded for all these guys. Let's just put them on waivers. You want Trout too? Sure. Take him. Just whatever. I don't care. They're lost, dude. They're done. Should have sold the team.
We gave them a chance. We did our part. We finally came around on them.
Never again.
Yeah, never again. Learned our lesson with the Mets. Learned our lesson with the Angels now.
All right,
it is what it is.
Philly's obviously like the obvious choice, right? Because he's from Philly, sure. He's a big Eagles fan. Like, we all know this, blah, blah, blah. Do you see anywhere else as like a maybe?
Honestly, no. I haven't really considered much outside of Philly because to me it just makes too much sense.
I don't know if they have the financial flexibility for it.
Yeah. I mean, a guy can dream, right? A guy can dream. At the end of the day, though, regardless where he goes, I'm just excited that it's safe to assume that if he is traded, it's going to be to a team that has a better chance to win a World Series currently than the Angels do. I don't care where he ends up. I just want him to have a shot. Although,
I feel like there's a... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm not, I've said it before, I'm not too thrilled with Mike Trout, honestly, because part of me feels bad that he hasn't had a real legitimate chance to win a World Series. But he made his bed, you know? He agreed to this 12-year contract.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, you can say, well, the front ownership or the front office promised me this, they promised me that, but, like, you got to have a little bit of awareness, I feel like. And I'm hoping that I'm not, like, pulling a revisionist history thing here, but I get it. Like, you were probably promised, like, yeah, we're going to put this team in a position to get you that ring. But, like, it hasn't happened, and they haven't even really come close to it. And they had Shohei, and we've seen what's happened with the team with Shohei and Trout on the same team. I put out the post the other day. I think it was Codify put it out that said that they have a losing record when both of those guys are in the lineup together. A losing record.
That's crazy.
That's not an indication of their abilities.
Yeah.
Like, by any stretch. That says what they've put around those two guys. That speaks to more about what they've put around those two guys. And it's not good. So, like, yeah, I want Trout to get out of there just for his sake and because I think it'd be better for baseball. But also, like, there is an element that there is a side to that where I don't feel as bad because I'm like, dude, 12 years. I mean, I would have signed a 12-year, $300 or $430 million contract. I'm not knocking him for that, but, like, recognize what you were signing up for, where you were signing up for. I don't know. All that to say, though, Philly for me.
I feel like there's, like, this parallel irony with his path possibly being similar to what we saw with Albert Pujols. Where, like, you're going to get this guy that locked down the Hall of Fame bid long ago, was most feared in the league for a long time. And I'm not saying, like, contractually, I'm not even saying location, I'm not even saying, like, numbers wise. I'm just saying, like, there was this Albert Pujols in LA. You get a couple good years and then it's just riding the rest out. You know what I mean? And you're just kind of dealing with him at that point. I have a feeling that's how it's going to go for him in his next place. There's going to be something similar to where you might see him cross over milestones and he's still going to sell jerseys. People are going to still show up and watch him. But it's going to be one of those things of, like, the good old Mike Trout isn't here anymore.
Sad to say.
I think just being weird and maybe seeing a different place. Maybe San Francisco. A place that
I'm sure they'll be in on the bid.
They're in on everybody, you know.
As they're in for everybody.
But I don't know. That could be interesting. Just a non-Philly place. I think everybody wants Philly. I think everybody in baseball world expects Philly.
Don't doubt Davey Dombrowski.
Yeah.
He can get it done.
Take some unique stuff. Some unique moves.
Lastly here, I got, because it's hot. I'm dying in here. Dogs are starting to bark. This is a grind. Stephen Strasburg, what happened?
Ay.
I'm gonna, as we sit and and consider the ramifications. I'm gonna
do what you need to do, pal.
I'm gonna get some cool air. It looks like the siblings are back from their coffee run, so this is fun. Yeah, so SeatGeek. Use our promo code 3OTAKE. Take $20 off your first purchase as a first-time user. And maybe you can use some of that money to buy like a personal fan or a cooling pad of sorts. Okay, we're gonna dial in here. Yeah, they just got back. This is fun. This is good listening entertainment. I highly recommend.
Sure is.
That's full sarcasm, but I highly recommend checking out the YouTube because woo, this is a first. I've never recorded in a sauna before. Let's keep this quick. Stephen Strasburg. So it was reported that he had decided to retire, which we covered at length. But then it was reported that the Nationals then I'm honestly still confused on what happened and like what actually was said versus speculation. That the Nationals then canceled the retirement ceremony and that they said we're looking forward to seeing Steven at spring training. What is happening?
I don't know. I really don't understand.
I could not make
the
sense
situation.
of any of that. What is that? How do you then, like, how do you come out and say, for a guy who, like, clearly gave you everything he had, you came out with your statements following the announcement, like, yada, 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 and then seemingly, weeks later, you say, we're canceling the retirement ceremony that we had planned. We appreciate everything as Strasburg has done for us, and we'll see him in spring training. I don't understand that at all.
Obviously, they want out of the contract. I mean, that's the glaring thing.
Oh yeah, that was the other element. Is that it was reported that they were also trying to like get some of the money back, and I'm like, how do you go about how do you sleep at night handling this business that way? That's low, man. It is low.
Like what? Have some like keep the doors closed on some of this stuff. You don't need to air out dirty laundry that much. I think everyone is obviously seeing that like there's a ton of money still owed. $35 million until 2026. And then he has another $80 million deferred. So it's $26 million a year from 27 to 2029. The boy's getting paid. But this is how it goes. So restructure that somehow. You know what I mean? Like, see what you can do to restructure that. Or maybe he's a Scott Boras guy. This is not going to happen.
No. And the thing that's weird, too, is that he hasn't officially retired yet. And so then you get the comment about, like, we're looking... What is that? I don't understand. That's the part that I'm so stuck on, is this whole, we'll see Steven in spring training. What does that mean? Like, are you bringing him back as, like, as some, like, special assistant? Or are you bringing him back as, like, your fifth starter? Like, what does that mean?
Is he saying To be fair, there were just rumors about the retirement, right? Like, we never saw an official statement from him.
No, I don't remember who reported it, but it was one of the Nationals beat writers, I think, and they said that he had made the decision. I don't think there was a direct quote, but that somebody close to the team had indicated that the decision was made on his part to retire this season. But then this whole thing happens. No announcement has been made about an official retirement as you look back, and then you're going, what is the team implying or like insinuating we'll see him in spring training? I don't get that.
Yeah, like you don't want him to retire.
Is this like a weird way of like trying to hype up the fans and be like, yeah, we're bringing our guy back? It doesn't make any sense.
I've never heard anything like that before. The team just like refuses, like rejects your, like you try to resign, you try to quit your job and they're just like, no.
No, we'll see you Monday.
We'll see you Monday. I'm not letting that happen. You must stay. I don't know, dude. I mean, he's done, right? Like we're not going to see him pitch again. That has to be the case.
No, he's done. This is simply just going to come down to how much money the Nats can milk back from this contract, which is such a bad look.
Don't they insure these contracts?
Maybe the other 29 teams do, but I would doubt that the Nationals would, because tell you what, man, outside of 2019, this team has made some questionable
for real
decisions.
It's time to sell.
Without a doubt.
So he's, I don't know, just fly out to San Diego State, go retire there. You know what I mean? Do your press conference there. It just sucks because, like, he deserves the recognition. Like, he deserves the praise of the Nationals and Nationals fans.
If you're Strasburg, pull a Garrett Cole, do your press conference wearing a Boris cap, and make no mention of the Nationals. Just say that you're retiring from Major League Baseball.
There you go. Done.
And ride off into the sunset with your millions.
Boris
That's the way
Corp.
to go about it. Yeah, Boris Corp hat. Just tough, man. Talk about a sucky ending to a career for Strasburg. Like, now you got this on top of that. And I don't know how much of this is him versus Boris trying to get involved versus the Nationals maybe being misreported on. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a
little do we know
situation.
That Scott Boras wasn't invited to the presser, and that's why it was canceled.
That's very likely.
He wasn't allowed to sit next to Strasburg. So
jokes aside,
scratch everything.
That's a very realistic possibility.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but Nats need to sell and restructure this, dude. Go Bobby Bonilla on him. Just defer it until 2060.
Do what you got to do.
Give him an ownership stake. That's what you do.
Sell the team to him.
For him. Yeah,
sell the team to him. Say, are you willing to sell the team for the cost of what we would have to owe you? And we can wipe our hands clean and move on from this and just be done.
Just want to swap. You own this team now.
Clean swap. Because we don't want to be here any more than you do. So let's just call it a day.
That's good.
Speaking of calling it a day, I say we bang this thing early. Anything else you got? The only item I had for closing the book was that the Cubs are calling up Pete Crow Armstrong.
Saw that. Love that. Love that. Just pour some more fuel onto the fire. Hype it up. Get it going.
Did you see? Speaking of the Cubs, did you see Lieutenant Dan got to meet Dansby Swanson?
No.
That's pretty cool.
That's neat.
The caption, the social media people had a field day with that. Lieutenant Dan meeting Lieutenant Dansby Swanson.
That's cool. Gary Sinise.
Yep, that's him.
That guy's the man. Yeah.
Yeah, so good mojo for the Cubs right now, calling up Pete Crow Armstrong.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. We ride on into September.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously 9/11 today. Just I've said this before. It's not about anything else. It's not about your conspiracy theories. It's not about, your political beliefs. It's about, people that lost their lives today. Heroes that lost their lives today. And they're the ones that deserve the recognition. They're the ones that deserve the remembrance. So, yeah. And I've actually been there. It was a few years ago. But if you ever have a chance to get to New York, make it a priority to get to the 9/11 memorial. just take it all in. But yeah, just a day that, we refuse to forget, a day that we will forever acknowledge. And, your dad being a longtime firefighter, and, there's a lot of heroes out there that don't get enough recognition and praise. So I don't know, maybe stop by your firehouse, bring him some donuts, bring him some coffee, just, give him some love, because, there's a lot of people out there that deserve it.
Yeah, lots of love to all the first responders out there for sure. And I would echo that. Maybe consider, dropping off a little meal or a little snack for them just to show your appreciation, because, we can look at 9/11 as a day where they came to our rescue, but the reality of it is every day. Like, it's not just these big events, these big unfortunate events. But the thing for me about 9/11 is wanting people to recognize what this country was like on September 12th, and trying to do what we can as a country, as a nation, to get back to that, because everything now, and I mean everything, is serving as some source of divisiveness. And I just wish that people who were alive at that time could reflect back on what it was like September 12th, but also the people that weren't alive at that point in time, to maybe educate themselves, listen to some stories, like look back on the state of the country on September 12th and the unity that we had and the pride that we had in our country. And there wasn't this like weird shame and like embarrassment about the place that we live, because the reality of it is, and you can say this or that, but the reality of it is that we live in one of the greatest countries on the planet. And for you to make light of this or that, or to say, well, we fall short here. Yeah, every country has its shortcomings. But at the end of the day, you have freedoms that a lot of other places don't have. You have the ability to live your life the way you choose. You have the ability to speak out against your country here. And not a lot of other places can do that. So just be grateful for where you're at. Be grateful for the opportunity that you've been blessed with. And as we were saying, be grateful for the people in your everyday lives that you probably haven't even met yet, but that are on standby, they're on call to come pull you out of a situation that you don't want to be in, whatever that may be. Because at the end of the day, there may be narratives surrounding first responders at times, but and sure, there are some that, not to get all political here, but like there are some that, deserve some blowback, but the majority of them are there to help you. They're there to serve you. And I just wish that we could get back to a place and time where we could have a common respect for one another, and that we could be proud of our communities. We could be proud of our country, and just be proud to be an American. So like for me,
amen.
Going back to it, to kind of wrap it up, September 12th, that's a one of the shining moments of this otherwise rather dark point in time for our country. But just smile at somebody today. Take something to your local firehouse or police station. Just be a good citizen, and we move forward. We were able to rebound, and I just hope that people don't forget about what happened and the way that we were able to reunify ourselves in just the mere hours after the fact. So that's all I got.
Amen.
I think we'll see. Honestly, if nothing happens this week in baseball, I may just have to bang out on the next one.
Scratch it.
But if something happens, we may have to figure out. I may have to go out on the back deck, and you guys just have to deal with the wave.
I think you need to go float in the ocean.
I mean, if I could get some Wi-Fi out in the ocean, I'll gladly come to you guys live from the ocean. But I don't know if we can make that work. But we'll figure something out. If there are topics to be discussed, I will do what I can to be here. If it means riding it out for round 2 of the sauna recordings,
There you go.
I'll do what I got to do. I do what I can for the people. Nate does what he can for the people. So we'll make it work if we can. But otherwise, we will see you guys Thursday.
Don't go chasing curveballs. And God bless the USA, baby.
We love y'all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.